G'day Guardians, Roguey here. Solar 3.0 has been in our hands for a few weeks now, and we are starting to see what everyone's favourite builds are. Hunters are blowing things up with enhanced trip mines and gunpowder gamble. Titans have found the secret to immortality was just proccing lowly Splendor Helm and going AFK. And Warlocks are wishing that Starfire Protocol had an ornament so they could at least look cool while dishing out the insane damage that fusion grenades have. Speaking of looking cool, Matt and I are giving away 2 Follow the Light emblem codes provided to us by the fine folk at Destiny ANZ. We'll be giving away 1 code on this YouTube video and 1 code in our Discord. To enter the YouTube giveaway, you must be subscribed to the channel and leave a comment on the video, letting us know what you are hoping for in ARC 3.0. For Discord, join up and post in the introductions channel. The winners will be drawn on Saturday the 25th at 12 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Good luck, Guardians! Now back to the video. With a few ability-focused builds being in the limelight, I wanted to change focus and put together a weapon-oriented build, all stemming from the Incandescent perk. Incandescent is a new perk added in Season of the Haunted, and has a similar effect to Dragonfly. Every time you kill an enemy, they explode, applying Scorch to nearby enemies. While Incandescent is restricted to only solo weapons, I've been finding it better than Dragonfly in almost every scenario. The damage from Scorch, when combined with Dawn Chorus, is nothing to ignore and will easily take down large clusters of high HP targets. Now, this isn't the only way we are going to be applying Scorch in this build. Our grenade and melee ability will also be a reliable source of Scorch and ignition. We do need to be careful though about how many Scorch stacks we apply if we want to make full use of Dawn Chorus's exotic perk, refunding us melee energy every time a target is damaged by Scorch. Too many stacks of Scorch and your target will ignite, preventing you from any further melee energy. Dawn Chorus is the natural choice of exotic as it triples the damage output that Scorch can do, turning a mild inconvenience into a lethal threat. So let's deep dive into how we can further amplify our Scorch effect while maintaining a focus on weapon damage. So let's start with the aspects. Personally, I'm not much of an airborne player, so I've gone with Touch of Flame and Icarus Dash. Touch of Flame, when applied to our solar grenade, massively increases its damage output by giving it a longer duration and adding lava projectiles, hitting all in its radius. The solar grenade also applies 20 stacks of Scorch, plus an additional 14 every second the target remains within its radius. Keep in mind that once a target reaches 100 stacks of Scorch, it ignites, causing a powerful solar explosion around the target. With the increased duration of our solar grenade, we have an additional tool for taking down some of the more beefy targets. And since we'll be using our grenade as a key damaging tool, it wouldn't make much sense to consume it for heat rises, so the natural choice is Icarus Dash. Being able to air dash is always a welcome skill, and the added bonus of Cure upon multi-kill while airborne is a nice touch. As for our melee ability, we'll be using Incinerator Snap. I do keep forgetting that Celestial Fire still exists, and could even be the better choice here, but I'll never know, because the snap is too cool not to use. Onto our fragments. Pairing nicely with Dawn Chorus, we have Ember of Searing, giving us melee energy when we defeat an enemy that has Scorch applied. Since everything we do in this build applies Scorch, we'll have a steady supply of melee energy. With all these different methods of applying Scorch, it's important that we are maximizing the effect when we do want to be applying ignition. That's done through Ember of Ashes. This nifty little aspect increases the amount of Scorch stacks applied to a target, guaranteeing our melee will proc ignition. One of the annoying things about proccing ignition though is you lose out on all your hard-earned Scorch stacks, cutting off your supply of melee energy. Thankfully, there's a fragment for that. Ember of Char causes your ignitions to spread Scorch to any targets caught in the blast radius, thus keeping the blaze alive. This comes in handy when you ignite a target near a tanky abomination or containment boss. The final fragment we'll be using is Ember of Wonder, a reliable way to generate orbs of power by getting multiple kills from our ignitions. It also gives us 10 resilience, which, after the buffs, is a huge plus. By now, it's pretty clear the direction that this build is taking. Kill a red bar with Incandescent weapon, applying Scorch to all nearby targets. Any target surviving the Scorch damage can easily be ignited with a melee. Rinse and repeat. Since our main source of Scorch is coming from our Incandescent weapons, it's important they can pack a punch. We'll be making use of the new artifact mod, Radiant Orbs, a 5-cost class item mod that gives us Radiant each time we pick up an Orb of Power. Thankfully, making Orbs of Power with this build is very easy. Because the Scorch applied from Incandescent is counters weapon damage, any target that dies from Scorch is proccing Harmonic Siphon, giving us an Orb of Power. I like to spend the remaining energy on Solar Fulmination for increased ignition effectiveness and Elemental Armaments, giving us a stable solar well generation source. Because we are generating so many orbs from Harmonic Siphon, I run 2 copies to increase the potency of the orbs generated. Taking charge is a must, as we'll be using these orbs to become charged with light. You can also swap out taking charge for elemental charge, since most of the guardians you encounter will likely be generating solar wells also. Elemental armaments isn't going to be our only source of well generation. I also like to run melee wellmaker for a quick solar well in a pinch. Explosive wellmaker could also be used here if you're finding yourself getting more ignition kills than melee kills. With elemental well and orb of power generation taken care of, it's time to put them to use. We'll be running high energy fire and font of might. This means each time we pick up an orb, we're becoming radiant, a 25% weapons buff, and gaining high energy fire, a 20% weapons buff. Throw in an elemental armaments proc or melee wellmaker for an additional 25% weapon damage buff from font of might. Given how easy it is to generate orbs with this build, we are maintaining a basically 100% uptime on both high energy fire and radiant. And as mentioned earlier, any group activities will likely be littered with solar wells for an easy font of might. As for stat distribution, I aim for high resilience, discipline, and recovery. Strength is not necessary, as Dawn Chorus gives us melee energy, neither is intellect, due to the sheer amount of orbs we'll be generating, fast tracking our super. After playing with Dawn Chorus and getting used to the massive damage output from my Scorch effects, I've been having a lot of trouble going back to other classes. Each time I'm scorching a group of adds, I turn my back, expecting Scorch to finish the job, but I'm left disappointed. I would recommend this build for any level of content, with my favourites being Containment on the Derelict Leviathan, and of course the Vow of the Disciple raid. I've tried many different solo builds this season, and can confidently say that this one is my favourite so far. I'll see you next time, Guardians.